The Great Hall of the Galactic Council was huge. It could hold thousands of beings from different worlds. Today it was full. Representatives from over 200 species sat in their special seats. Some needed water tanks. Others needed different air to breathe. Some floated in the air while others crawled on the floor. At the center of the hall stood a human man named Tai Ho. He was tall and wore a simple blue uniform. His hair was black and his eyes were calm. Next to him stood another human, a woman called Jiwoo. She wore a military uniform with silver stars on her shoulders. The two humans looked small compared to the giant aliens around them. But they stood straight and showed no fear. Chancellor Morden was the leader of the council. He was from the Velcrian species. His body looked like it was made of living crystal. When he moved, light danced across his surface. He was very old even for his kind. He had seen many wars and many peace treaties. Morden raised one of his crystal arms. The hall became quiet. Thousands of eyes, tentacles, and other seeing organs turned to look at the humans. "We are here today to decide about the humans," Morden said. His voice came out of speakers around the hall in many different languages. "They want to join our council. They want to be part of our galactic community." A low sound came from the crowd. Some species made clicking noises. Others buzzed. A few roared softly. It was not a happy sound. Taeho stepped forward. "Honorable beings of the council," he said in a clear voice. "My people come in peace. We want to learn from you. We want to share what we know. We want to trade and build friendships." A large creature that looked like a giant ant stood up. This was Queen Zekth of the hive species. When she talked, it sounded like many voices speaking at once. "We have studied the humans," Queen Zekth said. "We know their history. They fight each other. They destroy their own planet. They turn everything into weapons. Why should we trust them?" Jiwoo wanted to speak, but Taeho held up his hand. He kept his voice calm and steady. "Yes, we have fought wars," Taeho said. "We have made mistakes, but we have also learned from them. We have grown. We have united our world. We ended our wars. We learned to work together." From one corner came a bubbling sound. The Belnari lived in water, so they had special tanks in the council hall. Their representative was a creature that looked like a jellyfish with many tentacles. "The humans are dangerous," the Belnari said through their translator. "They survive in places that would kill us. They live on a world with poison gas in the air. They swim in water that would burn our skin. They are too different." More voices joined in. Species after species spoke about their fears. The humans were too strong, too smart, too quick to adapt, too willing to fight. Morden listened to them all. He had been studying humans for many years. He knew they were right to be worried. But he also knew they were wrong about some things. "The humans are indeed different," Morden finally said, "but that does not make them evil. It makes them interesting." In the back of the hall sat the delegation from the Krethek Empire. Their leader was General Vorthak. He was tall and strong, with thick armor covering his body. His people were warriors. They had conquered many worlds. Vorthak listened to all the talk about how dangerous humans were. He looked at the two small humans standing in the center of the hall. They had no armor, no natural weapons, no thick skin. They looked weak to him, these soft creatures. Vorthak whispered to his aide, "The council fears these pink things." His aide, a smaller Krethek named Grelnok, nodded. "The reports say they are dangerous, General." Vorthak laughed quietly. "Look at them. They have no claws, no fangs, no energy weapons. They breathe the same air we do. They bleed red blood. How dangerous can they be?" The debate went on for hours. Some species supported the humans. The peaceful Talmori thought humans could be good friends. The wise Elder Nai saw potential in human creativity, but many others were afraid. Finally, Morden called for quiet again. "We must vote," he said. "Should humanity be allowed to join the Galactic Council?" The voting was done in secret. Each species entered their choice into the council's computer system. The humans waited. Taeho showed no emotion. Jiwoo kept her hands steady at her sides. The results appeared on screens around the hall. It was very close. Out of 212 species, 107 voted yes. 105 voted no. By the smallest margin in council history, Morden announced, humanity is granted membership in the Galactic Council. But then he held up his hand again. However, there will be conditions. Humans will have limited rights for the first 10 years. You may not build large military fleets. You may not colonize more than 50 worlds. You must allow council inspectors to visit your territories. Teho bowed his head. We accept these conditions. We are grateful for this chance. As the humans left the hall, different species talked among themselves. Some thought the council had made a mistake. Others thought the restrictions were too harsh. Vorthak watched the humans go. He made up his mind right then. If the council was too weak to stop these humans, then he would do it himself. His empire needed new worlds, new resources, new slaves. The humans had just been given 50 worlds to colonize. That was 50 worlds the Krathek Empire could take instead. And if these soft creatures tried to fight back, well, that would be easy to handle. Vorthak began making plans as soon as he returned to his ship. He would wait until the humans spread out to their new colonies. Then he would attack the weakest ones first. Once he showed the galaxy how weak humans really were, other species would join him. He called his top commanders to a meeting. "Prepare the fleet," he told them. "We are going hunting." Meanwhile, Teho and Jiwoo sat in their own ship as it traveled back to Earth. They knew some species would try to test humanity. They had prepared for this. "The colonies will be ready?" Teho asked. Jiwoo nodded. "Every ship has the modifications. Every colonist knows the plan." "They think we are just farmers and miners," Teho smiled. "Let them think that. It will make things easier." Back on Earth, other humans were preparing too. Scientists like Sang-hoon worked on new technologies. Doctors like Hee-jin studied alien biology. Engineers built things that looked harmless but were not. The galaxy thought it knew what humans were. They thought humans were either too dangerous to trust or too weak to worry about. Both ideas were wrong. Humans were something else entirely. They were survivors. They were adapters. They were protectors. And when someone threatened their families, their homes, or their friends, they became something that the galaxy had never seen before. But the galaxy would learn soon enough. Vorthak and others like him would make sure of that. The warning had been given. The council had been careful, but not everyone listened to warnings. Some beings had to learn the hard way, and humans were very good teachers when they needed to be. 3 months passed after the council meeting. The humans had been busy. They sent colony ships to 12 different worlds. Each ship carried about 5,000 people. These were families looking for new homes. They were scientists who wanted to study alien plants and animals. They were miners who wanted to dig for rare metals. One of these worlds was called New Busan. It was a nice planet with clean air and plenty of water. The colonists had built a small city near a mountain range rich in valuable minerals. They had farms growing earth crops. They had schools for their children. Hyun-sik was the colony administrator. He was a kind man who had once been a teacher on Earth. Now he helped 50,000 humans build their new life on this distant world. Every morning he walked through the colony and talked to people. He knew most of them by name. Boram was the security chief. She was smaller than Hyun-sik but much tougher. She had been a soldier on Earth before becoming a colonist. Her job was to keep everyone safe. But she was also an engineer. She knew how to build things and fix things. The colony looked peaceful. There were children playing in the parks. There were farmers working in the fields. There were miners going down into the tunnels every day. It looked like any human town, just on a different planet. But Boram had made sure the colony had secrets. The mining equipment could do more than dig holes. The farming machines were stronger than they looked. The power generators had extra parts that most people did not know about. Even the playground equipment could be taken apart and used for other things. Boram had learned something important during her years as a soldier. The best weapons were the ones your enemy did not know you had. On a cold morning, the colony's sensors detected something in space. Ships were coming. Big ships. Alien ships. Hyun-sik was having breakfast with his wife Min-kyung when Boram called him. "We have visitors," she said. Her voice was calm, but Hyun-sik could hear the worry in it. "Friendly visitors?" he asked. "I don't think so," Boram replied. The ships were from the Krathek Empire. There were 12 of them. Each one was much bigger than the colony ships that brought the humans here. They had thick armor and big guns. They moved into orbit around New Busan like hunters surrounding their prey. General Vorthak sat in the command chair of his flagship. Through the big window he could see the human colony below. It looked small and weak, perfect for his first victory. "Send them our message," Vorthak told his communications officer. The message reached Hyun-sik a few minutes later. It came through the colony's main communication system. Every human on New Busan could hear it. Vorthak's voice was deep and threatening. Humans of New Busan, this is General Vorthak of the Krathek Empire. This world now belongs to us. You will surrender immediately. You will leave your homes and report to our ships. If you cooperate, you will not be harmed. If you resist, you will die. Hyunsik looked around his office. On the walls were pictures of the colony being built. Pictures of children playing. Pictures of families eating together. These people had come so far to build a new life. They trusted him to protect them. This is Administrator Hyunsik, he said into his communicator. We are a peaceful colony. We have families here, children. We are not soldiers. We just want to live in peace. Vorthak's laughter came through the speakers. Peace is for the weak. You have 1 hour to surrender. After that, we will take what we want by force. The communication ended. Hyunsik sat quietly for a moment. Then he pressed a different button on his desk. This one sent a coded signal to every building in the colony. Boram received the signal in the security center. She had been waiting for this day since they arrived on New Busan. She pressed her own button. All around the colony, things began to change. The mining lasers in the quarry turned toward the sky. Hidden panels opened on top of buildings. What looked like water tanks were really shield generators. What looked like storage containers were really weapon systems. But the biggest change was in the people. One Ho had been a peaceful miner on Earth. He had never hurt anyone in his life. But when he heard the aliens' threat, something woke up inside him. He knew how to operate the mining laser. He also knew that rocks were not the only things it could cut through. Yunji ran the colony's greenhouse. She grew vegetables to feed people. But she had also been studying the alien ships through her telescope. She knew exactly where their weak spots were. Kyung-soo was a maintenance worker. He fixed broken equipment and kept the colony's machines running. But machines were machines. It did not matter if they were built to grow food or destroy enemies. He understood them all. Young-yi was the colony's doctor. She had come to New Busan to help people stay healthy. But she had also been reading everything she could find about alien biology. She knew things that might surprise their visitors. All over the colony, 50,000 humans were getting ready to defend their home. Vorthak watched from his ship as the hour passed. He expected to see humans running around in panic. Instead, he saw them calmly going about their business. Children were taken to safe places. Adults moved to different positions, but nobody looked scared. Strange, said his aide Grelnock. They do not seem afraid. They will be, Vorthak replied. Begin the attack. The first Kretek ship moved down toward the colony, its weapons charged up, ready to destroy any building that looked important. Boram watched it come. She waited until it was at exactly the right distance. Then she pressed another button. The mining laser fired. The beam of energy hit the alien ship right in the center. The ship's shields flickered and died. The beam cut through the armor like it was made of paper. The ship exploded. Vorthak stared in shock. Impossible. That was mining equipment. But more surprises were coming. The greenhouse opened up and a railgun came out. Yunji had built it using parts from farming machines. The metal slugs it fired moved so fast they could punch holes through anything. Another alien ship tried to land near the colony, but the ground under it exploded. Kyung-soo had buried charges there weeks ago, disguised as irrigation pipes. More alien ships attacked. But every time they tried to get close, the humans had another surprise waiting. The playground equipment turned out to be made from ultra-strong materials. The children's slides became armor for human fighters. The monkey bars became supports for heavy weapons. Even the school turned out to be a fortress. The teachers had been training the older children how to use emergency equipment. Equipment that looked educational but worked very well for defense. Vorthak lost 3 ships before he ordered a retreat. As his remaining ships pulled back into high orbit, he tried to understand what had happened. They were supposed to be civilians, he said to Grelnock. Farmers and miners. Not soldiers. Maybe, Grelnock said slowly. There's no difference. Down on New Busan, Hyunsik walked through the colony. Some buildings were damaged. A few people were hurt. But they had won. They had protected their home. Boram met him at the medical center where Young-yi was treating the wounded. The alien ships are still up there, Boram said. They might come back. Hyunsik nodded. Send a message to Earth, tell them what happened. And send messages to the other colonies too. They need to know. What should I tell them? Boram asked. Hyunsik looked out the window at his people. They were cleaning up damage and checking their weapons. They were taking care of each other. They were doing what humans always did when someone threatened their family. Tell them we are not just colonists anymore, he said. We are defenders, and anyone who wants to take our homes will have to fight for them. The message went out across space to every human colony and every human ship. It was simple and clear. The galaxy had just learned something important about humans. They looked peaceful. They talked about friendship and cooperation. But when someone threatened their families, they became something else entirely. They became dangerous. Vorthak did not know it yet, but his attack on New Busan had started something much bigger than a single battle. He had awakened something in humanity that would change the galaxy forever. The humans were no longer asking for permission to exist. They were ready to fight for the right to live in peace, and they were very good at fighting. News of what happened at New Busan spread across the galaxy like fire. Every species heard the story. A small human colony had fought off 12 Krethik warships. They had used mining equipment and farming tools to destroy alien war machines. Some species were impressed. Others were worried. Many were confused. The Galactic Council called an emergency meeting. Representatives from across the galaxy gathered again in the Great Hall. This time the mood was different. There was fear in the air, and anger. Taeho stood in the center of the hall once more. But now Admiral Jiwoo stood beside him with her full military uniform. She wore medals that showed she had been in many battles. Her eyes were hard and cold. General Vorthak was there too. His armor was damaged from the battle. His pride was hurt even more than his ships. He pointed one clawed finger at the humans. They attacked us, Vorthak shouted. We came to claim an empty world and they destroyed our ships. Taeho's voice stayed calm. Your ships attacked our families first. We defended ourselves. That is our right. Chancellor Morden studied the reports from New Busan. The battle had been recorded by both sides. He could see everything that happened. The humans used only defensive weapons, Morden said slowly. They did not attack until they were attacked first. But Vorthak was not alone anymore. Other alien leaders had joined him. War Chief Kratok of the Thekmori clan stood up. His people were proud warriors who lived for battle. The humans are too dangerous, Kratok said. They turn peaceful tools into weapons of war. They make every colonist into a soldier. This threatens the balance of power in the galaxy. Admiral Zethris of the Drakshan Republic agreed. Her people had the strongest military in known space, or they had before seeing what humans could do. We have studied the battle recordings, Zethris said. The humans did not just defend themselves. They fought with tactics we have never seen. They used teamwork that should be impossible for individual creatures. They are not like other species. More voices joined the complaints. The humans were changing the rules of war. They were making other species look weak. They were growing too fast and learning too quickly. Taeho listened to all the accusations. Then he spoke. We came to you in peace, he said. We asked to join your community. We followed your rules. We accepted your limits on our expansion. When someone attacked our people, we defended them. What did you expect us to do? Queen Zekth clicked her mandibles nervously. But you are too good at defending yourselves. You make war too easily. Admiral Jiwoo stepped forward. When she spoke, her voice was like ice. We do not make war easily. We make war effectively. There is a difference. The debate went on for hours, but this time it was not about whether to accept humans. It was about what to do with them now that they were here. Some species wanted to put more limits on human expansion. Others wanted to kick humans out of the council completely. A few even suggested working together to force humans back to their home world. Vorthak saw his chance. The humans are a threat to galactic peace, he declared. If the council will not act, then those who care about safety must act alone. Chancellor Morden knew what this meant. Vorthak was talking about war, not just his empire, but several others joining together to fight humanity. The council does not support military action against any member species, Morden said firmly. Then the council is weak, Vorthak replied. And weak councils do not last long. As the meeting ended, different groups formed. Some species still supported the humans, but others were joining Vorthak's alliance. They called themselves the Coalition for Galactic Order. Taeho and Jiwoo returned to their ship. They knew what was coming. War was no longer a possibility. It was a certainty. How many colonies do we have now? Taeho asked. 37, Jiwoo replied. About 2 million people total. And how many are ready? Jiwoo smiled, but it was not a happy smile. All of them. Back on Earth, the human government was not surprised by the news. They had been preparing for this day since joining the Council. Admiral Seok Jin commanded the Earth Defense Fleet. He was an old man who had fought in the last war on Earth. He knew what humans could do when they were angry. The aliens think we are just one small species, he told his officers. They think if they hit us hard enough, we will give up and go home. Commander Dae-sung, his second-in-command, nodded. They do not understand that we are all one people, no matter which world we live on. Captain Minho, who led the Special Forces, added, They attack one human colony. They attack all humans everywhere. Major Yejin, the intelligence officer, had been studying the enemy. The coalition has about 800 ships total, much larger than our fleet. Numbers do not win wars, Admiral Seok Jin replied. Smart thinking wins wars. And humans are very good at smart thinking. In research facilities across human space, scientists were working on new projects. Dr. Sang-hoon led a team that was developing new types of weapons, but these were not the kind of weapons other species used. Energy shields stop energy weapons, Sang-hoon explained to his team. But what about physical objects moving very, very fast? Dr. Nayeon worked on a different problem. Their ships are built to fight other ships like theirs. But human ships are different. We can use that. Dr. Youngie had left New Busan after the battle. Now she worked in a secret laboratory, studying samples of alien biology that had been collected over the years through diplomatic channels. Every species has weaknesses, she told her research team. We just need to find the right ones. But the most important preparations were not happening in laboratories or military bases. They were happening in human colonies across the galaxy. On New Seoul, Colony Administrator Jae Min was teaching civilians how to use industrial equipment for defense. Remember, he told them, a construction laser can cut through more than just rock. On New Tokyo, Security Chief Soo Jin was showing families how to turn their homes into fortresses. Every room can be a fighting position. Every hallway can be a trap. On New Mumbai, Engineer Dongwook was building weapons that looked like farming equipment. When they scan our colony, they will see farmers and miners. They will not see soldiers until it is too late. The aliens did not understand what they were facing. They thought war was something that happened between armies. They thought civilians and soldiers were different things. Humans knew better. When someone threatened human families, every human became a soldier. When someone attacked a human home, every human became a defender. The Coalition for Galactic Order was preparing for a traditional war. They would bring overwhelming force to crush human resistance. They would occupy human worlds and force humanity to surrender. But humanity was preparing for something else entirely. They were preparing to show the galaxy what happened when you threatened human children. What happened when you tried to destroy human homes? What happened when you made humans angry? Vorthak assembled his fleet in secret, 800 ships from 5 different species. It was the largest military force the galaxy had seen in centuries. We will hit them fast and hard, he told his allies. We will destroy their colonies one by one. We will show the galaxy that humans are not as dangerous as they pretend to be. War Chief Kratok agreed. My warriors are eager to test themselves against these humans. Admiral Zethris was more careful. We should not underestimate them. The battle at New Busan showed they are resourceful. One lucky victory, Vorthak dismissed. When they face a real fleet, they will break. But as the coalition prepared for war, messages were flying between human colonies. Plans were being made. Weapons were being built. Defenses were being prepared, and most importantly, humans were getting angry. The galaxy was about to learn a lesson that it would never forget. There were many dangerous species among the stars. There were species with powerful weapons, strong bodies, and advanced technology. But there was only one species that got more dangerous when you made them mad. The humans were ready for war. And war was coming. The coalition fleet was the largest military force ever assembled in the galaxy. 800 ships from 5 different species moved through space toward human territory. General Vorthak commanded from his flagship, a massive vessel called the Star Crusher. His war council included the best military minds from each species. War Chief Kratok brought the fierce fighting spirit of the Thekmori clans. Admiral Zethris contributed the advanced technology of the Drakshan Republic. Strategic advisor Zelnok had calculated every possible outcome of the coming battle. The humans have 43 colonies, Zelnok reported. Our intelligence shows they have no real military fleet. Just converted civilian ships and mining equipment, Kratok laughed. My warriors will enjoy an easy victory. But Zethris was worried. The battle at New Busan suggests they are more prepared than they appear. One small colony got lucky, Vorthak said. When they face our full power, they will surrender quickly. The coalition chose New Busan as their first target. It was a symbolic choice. They wanted to crush the place where human resistance had first shown itself. As the fleet approached New Busan, the colonists were ready. But they were not the same people who had lived there 6 months ago. The battle with Vorthak's first attack had changed them. Yunsik was still the colony administrator, but now he also carried a weapon. Boram had trained every adult in the colony to fight. Even the teachers and doctors knew how to use military equipment. The colony looked the same on the outside. There were still farms and mining operations. Children still played in the parks. But hidden beneath the surface was a fortress that would surprise their enemies. 800 ships, Boram reported as she watched the enemy fleet arrive. Much bigger than last time. Are you worried? Yunsik asked. Boram smiled. No, are you? No, Yunsik replied. I feel sorry for them. The coalition fleet moved into attack formation. This time, they would not make the mistake of sending just one ship. They would overwhelm the humans with massive firepower, but the humans had been busy during the past 6 months. Dr. Sang-hoon's new weapon was ready for testing. It was called Project Hammer. Commander Jae-min of the human defense ship Soul's Pride worked with physicist Su-jin to prepare their surprise. They had taken a simple idea and made it into something terrifying. Tungsten rods, Su-jin explained to her crew. We accelerate them to very high speed using our modified engines. No explosives. No energy weapons. Just metal moving very, very fast. Will it work? Jae-min asked. Physics says yes, Su-jin replied. Let's find out if physics is right. The first coalition ship to attack was a massive Drakshan battlecruiser. Its shields could stop any energy weapon. Its armor could resist the strongest missiles. It moved toward the colony like an unstoppable force. The tungsten rod hit it at a significant fraction of light speed. The rod was only as big as a person, but it carried more energy than a nuclear bomb. It passed through the ship's shields like they were not there. It punched through the armor like it was paper. It went completely through the ship and kept going until it hit the planet's moon. The battlecruiser simply disappeared. One moment it was there, the next moment it was gone. No explosion, no debris, just empty space where a warship used to be. Zelnok stared at his sensors in shock. Impossible. Our computers show no energy weapon discharge. No missile launch. Nothing that could destroy a ship. Maybe there was a malfunction, Zethris suggested. Then the second ship was hit. Then the third. Each time a massive warship simply vanished. What are they using? Vorthak demanded. The answer came from an unexpected source. A Krathik engineer who had been studying human technology figured it out. General, the engineer reported, they are throwing rocks at us. Rocks? Vorthak could not believe it. Very fast rocks. Faster than our sensors can track. Too fast for our shields to stop. Vorthak felt his confidence cracking. The humans were destroying his most powerful ships with rocks. But the tungsten rods were not the only surprise waiting for the coalition fleet. Dr. Young-A's research had created something special. She had studied alien biology for months, looking for weaknesses. What she found was fascinating. Each species in the coalition had different brain chemistry, but they all used similar neural pathways for coordination and communication. Young-A had developed a compound that could disrupt those pathways without causing permanent damage. It was not meant to kill. It was meant to confuse. When the coalition ships got close enough to the colony, hidden devices released clouds of microscopic particles into space. The particles were so small that ship filters could not stop them. They passed through air recycling systems and reached the crews inside. Suddenly, Kretic warriors could not remember their orders. Thekmori pilots forgot how to fly their ships. Drakshan officers found themselves unable to think clearly. I cannot. What were we doing? A Kretic captain asked his crew. I think. We were fighting someone? His first officer replied, equally confused. Ships began flying in random directions. Some fired their weapons at empty space. Others forgot they were in a battle at all, but the humans were not finished with their surprises. Marine Captain Dong Wook led boarding parties against ships that had been disabled by the neural disruptor. His teams used tactics that no alien military had ever seen. Instead of attacking the strongest parts of enemy ships, they went after life support systems. Instead of trying to capture the bridge, they disabled the engines. Instead of fighting alien warriors in fair combat, they used the ship's own systems against their crews. Turn off their gravity, Dongwook told his team as they moved through a Drakshan cruiser. Humans are better at fighting in zero gravity than they are. His soldiers moved through the ship like shadows. They had trained in similar ships captured during previous battles. They knew where every important system was located. The Drakshan crew found themselves floating helplessly, while human marines moved easily through their own ship, turning off lights, cutting power, and making everything as confusing as possible. But perhaps the most shocking thing was how human civilians joined the fight. When coalition ships tried to land troops on the planet, they found that every human was ready to resist. Farmers used agricultural equipment to create barriers and traps. Miners collapsed tunnels to block alien advances. Teachers used their knowledge of alien psychology to confuse and misdirect enemy soldiers. Even the children helped. Young humans who had been studying alien languages during diplomatic exchanges now used that knowledge to give false orders to confused alien troops. The battle that was supposed to be an easy victory for 800 coalition ships turned into a nightmare, ships destroyed by impossible weapons, crews confused by chemical attacks, ground forces lost in a maze of traps and tricks created by people who were supposed to be harmless civilians. By the end of the day, Vorthak had lost more than half his fleet. The survivors retreated in confusion and fear. How? Kratok asked as his damaged ship limped away from New Busan. How did we lose to farmers and miners? Zethris checked the battle reports. They did not fight like any military we know. They used everything as a weapon. Every person was a soldier. Every building was a fortress. Zelnok tried to understand what had happened. Our calculations were based on normal military doctrine. But the humans do not follow normal military doctrine. They follow no doctrine at all. They just adapt. As news of the defeat spread through the coalition fleet, other alien species began to have doubts. The humans had not just won a battle. They had made the galaxy's most powerful military alliance look foolish. But for the humans, this was just the beginning. The coalition had attacked their people, had tried to destroy their homes, had threatened their families. Now humanity was truly angry. And an angry human was something the galaxy had never seen before. Admiral Jiwoo received reports of the victory with grim satisfaction. Send the recordings to every human colony, she ordered. Let our people see what we can do when we work together. But she also sent a different message to the coalition fleet as it retreated. A simple message that would be remembered throughout galactic history. You attacked our families. You threatened our children. You tried to destroy our homes. This was your first mistake. Trying to run away will be your second. The humans were no longer defending. Now they were hunting, and they were very good at hunting. The Galactic Council Hall was quieter than it had ever been in living memory. Representatives from across the galaxy sat in stunned silence as they watched the battle. Recordings from New Busan, 800 ships from the most powerful military alliance in known space, had been defeated by a single human colony, Chancellor. Morden's crystalline form flickered, with deep colors as he processed what he was seeing. They did not just win, he said slowly to his aide. They changed the very nature of warfare. The recordings showed impossible things. Warships destroyed by weapons that should not exist. Alien crews confused by chemicals that targeted their specific biology. Military tactics that used civilian infrastructure as weapons of war. But most shocking of all was the complete unity of the human response. Every colonist had fought. Every building had been a fortress. Every tool had become a weapon. The human delegation had grown since their first appearance at the council. Admiral Jiwoo now sat beside Ambassador Taeho. General Seokjin represented Earth's military forces. Dr. Nayan spoke for the human scientific community. But the presence that unnerved the alien representatives most was Hyunsik, the simple colony administrator who had become a symbol of human determination. The man who had looked at 800 warships and decided to fight rather than surrender. In the prisoner section of the hall sat the remains of the coalition leadership. General Vorthak's armor was cracked and dull. His empire's economy had collapsed under the cost of the failed war. Entire star systems had surrendered to human forces, rather than face the tungsten rain that had become humanity's signature weapon. War Chief Kratok of the Thekmori sat in chains that were more symbolic than necessary. His warrior clans had been psychologically broken by humans who refused to fight honorably. How could proud warriors maintain their culture when their enemies used mining equipment and farming tools to destroy their greatest ships? Admiral Zethris of the Drakshan Republic stared at the floor in shame. Her people's military academies were being closed. Their strategic doctrine was being completely rewritten. The humans had not just defeated them, they had made their entire way of thinking about war obsolete. The Coalition for Galactic Order attacked human civilians. Tejo said calmly, "We defended ourselves. That is our right under galactic law. But the defense of New Busan was only the beginning of what the galaxy now called the human response." After the Coalition's defeat, humanity had not stopped fighting. They had started hunting down every ship that had participated in the attack. Human fleets had appeared throughout Coalition space, demanding the surrender of war criminals. Most alien governments had complied immediately. The alternative was facing human military technology that seemed to break the laws of physics. Dr. Sang-hoon presented his latest innovation to the Council. It was called a terraforming accelerator. Using principles discovered during weapons research, it could make dead worlds suitable for human life in decades instead of centuries. "We are prepared to share this technology," Sang-hoon offered politely, "with our friends and allies." The unspoken message was clear: ally with humanity and gain access to technology that would revolutionize civilization. Oppose humanity and watch as they expanded faster than any species in galactic history. The economic implications were staggering. Planets that had been worthless suddenly became valuable beyond measure. Trade routes that had never existed became vital for interstellar commerce. Species that had supported the Coalition found themselves economically isolated. Species that had remained neutral or supported humanity found new prosperity. "You must understand," Queen Zekth said to the Council. "The humans have disrupted the natural order. They make war with civilian equipment. They turn every colonist into a soldier. They fight without honor or tradition." Dr. Youngie stood to respond. Her research had been crucial to the human victory. "We fight to protect our families. We use whatever tools we have available. We do not understand why this confuses you." The Belnari representative bubbled nervously in his tank. "But you make war too easily, too effectively." Admiral Jiwoo's response was ice cold. "We do not make war easily. We make war effectively when war is forced upon us. There is a difference." The debate continued for days. Some species wanted to place new restrictions on human expansion. Others wanted to form new alliances with humanity. A few suggested that the entire galactic government needed to be restructured around the new reality of human power. But the most important discussions were happening outside the council chambers. Private meetings between human representatives and alien governments produced a series of agreements that changed the galaxy forever. The Telmori Peaceful Confederation gained human protection in exchange for sharing their advanced medical knowledge. The Eldernai Wise Council traded their historical archives for human terraforming technology. Even former enemies began reaching out. Surviving Krethek leaders offered valuable mining rights in exchange for mercy. Thekamori clans asked to send young warriors to learn human fighting techniques. Drakshan scientists requested permission to study human military innovation. The galaxy was learning to adapt to a new reality. Humanity was not just another species. They were a force of change that would reshape everything. But the cost of ignoring the Council's original warning had been paid in full by those who chose to test human resolve. The Krethek Empire had lost 70% of its fleet and most of its outer territories. Their military was in ruins. Their economy was broken. Surviving Krethek leaders spent their time begging human administrators for basic supplies. The Thekmori warrior culture was questioning everything they believed about honor and combat. How could they maintain traditions based on individual strength when humans had shown that cooperation and innovation were more powerful than any single warrior? The Drakshan Republic was undergoing a complete military reformation. Their officers were studying human tactics. Their engineers were trying to understand human technology. Their entire concept of warfare was being rebuilt from scratch. Admiral Seok Jin addressed the council with quiet confidence. We never wanted to be conquerors. We wanted to be neighbors. We still want to be neighbors. But we will not allow anyone to threaten our families. Chancellor Morden reflected on the greatest mistake in council history. They had feared humanity's potential for war but completely failed to understand their capacity for adaptation and growth. The warnings had been given. The council had tried to be careful, but some species had to learn the hard way. As the council session ended, representatives from across the galaxy approached the human delegation. Some offered trade agreements. Others requested military protection. A few asked for help with scientific research, but they all showed the same thing: respect mixed with fear. Teho accepted their offers and requests with the same calm demeanor he had shown during humanity's first appearance at the council. But everyone in the hall understood that the balance of power had changed forever. Humanity had arrived as supplicants asking for membership. They were leaving as one of the most influential species in galactic civilization. Young alien students would learn about the human response in their history classes. Military academies would study the tactics that defeated the coalition. Scientists would research the technologies that made tungsten rods into planet killers. But most importantly, every species in the galaxy would remember the price of underestimating the soft creatures from Sol 3. Years later, when new species joined the Galactic Council, they received a special briefing about humanity, not about their technology or their military or their expansion rate. The briefing was about why attacking a single human settlement was considered an act of war against the entire species, about why beings who looked so fragile had become the galaxy's most feared protectors, about why the word soft had become synonymous with adaptable in galactic languages. It was a lesson written in the graves of 3 alien civilizations who had thought they understood what humans were capable of. They had learned, too late, that humanity's greatest strength was not their weapons or their ships or their technology. It was their refusal to let anyone hurt their families. The galaxy would never make that mistake again. The warning had been ignored. The price had been paid, and the universe would remember both for a very long time.